to do a quick review. It gets you guys focused and it gets all your good enzymes flowing there. All right, number one, what would be the population for this? Dan.
All U.S. adults.
All U.S. adults. And what's the sample? TJ.
What?
How many did you survey? 1,502 U.S. adults. And what did they find? They found this. Is this a statistic or is that a parameter? That's a statistic. This is what they found when they asked those people. So be careful. You want the number in your survey, where they come from, your population, and what they found out when they surveyed them. Number two, 38 nurses working in the San Francisco area were surveyed concerning their opinions of managed health care. Leslie, what's the sample?
38 nurses.
Okay, 38 nurses. What's the population? 38 nurses where?
Out of all the nurses
in San Fran. Good. And population, all nurses, San Fran. Okay, that one they combined to the San Fran, so that's your population, San Francisco nurses. And they surveyed 38. Okay, are we still the population on the sample? I didn't give you these, right?
No.
I just gave you 1 and 2. Okay. Good. Just so that you can kind of catch that. All right, we want to know, is this a parameter or a statistic? A parameter deals with your population. Statistic deals with your sample. So first determine, are you talking population or sample? Aaron, what did you say for this one? Parameter, because what's the population? Good. The whole Major League Baseball teams of 2012. This is the information they found out. So it's a parameter. Most of the time we call all those things statistics because statistics is the collection of your numbers. It's kind of multi-definition, but technically that's a parameter. Jada, what would you say about number 7?
A statistic.
It's a statistic because why?
It's only math majors.
It's only math majors? Okay, we can call it a statistic if you're looking at only the math majors at a university, or you can call it a parameter if you're looking at all the math majors at your university. See the difference? So we have to, in a recent study of math majors, so do they care about the other majors? No, so they're looking at your math majors. So 2 ways to look at this. One way, is it a statistic because we're looking at all the other majors, or is it a parameter? Who said parameter?
For what?
Okay.
7?
For 7. For number 7. Okay. You have to look at it 2 ways. You have to justify it. Okay? I think it's a parameter also because I think they're only talking about the math majors, but I can absolutely see where Jada said there are more than math majors at a university. So if you're looking at this as this is the population, then you're looking at a parameter. If you're looking at this, that this is the sample, then you're looking at a statistic. So this is what we call an ambiguous statement. It could go either way. So you just have to justify what you're saying. Okay. Oops, which part of exercise 3? I didn't give you guys exercise 3.
Yeah, I didn't do that one.
Okay, which part of exercise 3 represents the descriptive branch? What does descriptive mean? What word does it have in it? Describe. So it's describing what they found. So in exercise 3, we surveyed a sample of adults, and we found this. This is their descriptive statistic. We found this about the 2,311 U.S. adults that we surveyed. We found 84% of them have seen a healthcare provider at least once in the past year. That's the descriptive. The inferential part is, what can you infer from that? What does that lead you to believe about these U.S. adults? Olga, what does it lead you to believe?
That they take care of themselves.
that they're taking better care of themselves. Is 84% a good percentage for people to go to the doctor once a year? I think that's a very good percentage. If it said 43%, then what would you think? Well, people are not caring about their health as much. They're not going for their annual health exams. You know, when you're young, you have to go almost every year. I think for school too. You have to have your school exams. I know my kids did. As you get older, you're supposed to go every year, but you don't. So 84% is a nice high number. So when we're looking for a descriptive statistic, you're looking for something that came out of that information that they found. That's what was a result of that survey. Your inference is what you can infer. We don't know. We don't know what they were looking for. We don't know why they did this survey. It didn't tell us. But what we can infer is that that looks like a lot of people are going for their annual checkups. And that may be all we need to say. Qualitative or quantitative, the ages of a sample of 350 employees at a software. Aaron, qualitative or quantitative? Number 11. Quantitative, good. Quantitative means it's like quantity. You can do some kind of math on this. The revenues of companies in Fortune 500. Julia. Quantitative, good. Revenues is the money you make. The money you make. Okay, levels of measurements. Remember, we are nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio. You always go for your highest level. So, Nick, 15. I have the daily temperatures for Sacramento, California for the week of July. Interval. Everybody okay with interval? Okay. Interval Y.
The temperature is over there.
You
So-
say that 84 degrees is 9 more degrees than 75?
Okay, it's 9 more degrees than 75, but we can't say it's twice as hot, right? So we have some kind of meaningful differences between the numbers, but you cannot make a ratio. This is the highest level you can go to. Remember, interval is time and temperature. It's almost like back in the old days, people would call the certain number for time and temperature for the day. So those are the things, and it's a time stamp, like at 1:23 versus 3:23 versus 3:24. It's a time stamp. I can measure the difference. I can say this is 2 hours later, but not twice as late. So time stamps and temperature. Number 16, the vehicle size. Mini compact, subcompact, mid-compact. Danielle. Nominal? Okay, nominal, it is the name of each one. Is there some kind of order to this?
Yeah, it goes from large to small.
It goes from small to large. If it goes from small to large, then we have some kind of order to this. Okay? And it still is nominal. Everyone that's above it has the attributes of the ones before it. How about number 17? Nick, what would you say for number 17? Nominal. Nominal because it's just listing the departments. Is the sales bigger than the production, smaller than the production? Nope, just listing them. The total compensations in millions in the top 10 CEOs in the United States are listed. Let's see. Rebecca. Do they have an order?
Yeah.
They could if we put them in order.
It's not the highest.
Like, is it higher? Ratio. Can I be able to compare that one is twice as much, half as much? And it doesn't always have to show you that it's twice as much. You just have to be able to say 1.2 times as much. And I always say twice as much because that's easier to remember for a ratio. Remember, they have the characteristics of the ones before it. Number 19. Is this researchers conduct a study to determine whether a drug used to treat hypothyroidism works better when taken in the morning or when taken at bedtime. They take 90 patients and they give 1 pill in the morning and 1 pill in the evening and the other group, they use the placebo in the morning and the evening. After 3 months, the patients are instructed to switch pills. So what would you say, Aaron? Experiment. They're handing them something that affects a change. And they keep two groups, a control group and a placebo group. Okay? Now, the fact that they switched, is also a good thing to do. This is your replication. This is you repeating your experiment. You're having the participants, they're the same exact participants, but you're repeating. You're doing repetition here. Okay, replication. We do replication in this. And this is good to do. You have another sample, the same size, and you're giving the different participants something else. Number 20, researchers conduct a study to determine the number of falls women had during their pregnancy. They contacted 3,997 women, and they asked them how many times they fell during their pregnancy. Brianna, what would you say? Observation. Did they give them anything that affected them? No. Observation. Okay, your sampling techniques. Your sampling techniques are random sampling, systematic, stratified, cluster, and convenience. Okay, so Dan, using random digit dialing, researchers asked 1,003 U.S. adults their plans on working during retirement. No. What are they doing?
Oh, they're random.
Random. They're random dialing. Random. Just random. They're just randomly dialing. This is your simple random. They'll get the same amount each time they call. Everybody has an equal chance of being called. Now remember yesterday we talked about when they do this, a little bias in here is if you don't own the phone. You may not own a land phone anymore. A lot of people just own cell phones. So that's a little bit of bias. You're only getting the people that actually own a land phone. However, I've had marketers, telemarketers call my cell phone, so they must be also accessing cell phones. Okay. Remind those categories. 24. A student asked 18 friends. Cheetah. 24. A student asked 18 friends to participate in the psychology experiment. Convenience. This is total bias here.
Why is it not stratified? Because they're all friends. They're all equal friends.
Stratified means they have to come from, guys, excuse me, they have to come from different areas like freshmen, sophomore, juniors.
I thought that was stratified. Everyone's the same. Or that.
Cluster is when they take a group. But if you ask your friend to participate in a psychology, is that random?
I know what you mean by it's aspect. But I thought stratified was like when everyone's the same and they're all friends, so they are all like that.
Yeah, no. This is more of a convenience. Stratified would be this. You're gonna take two people from you're gonna break down into some kind of group, maybe age group. Maybe your friends are from like 13 to 15, 16 to 17.
I'm not saying it's
some
like,
of each.
Stupid. Like I know I got.
No, these are the hardest ones to get. These are the hardest ones. Stratified and cluster are the hardest ones to get. Well, remember the other day, Damani, I said, think of a stratified rock. I must be a science person. Like I think of rocks. You know what a stratified rock is? If you crack the rock open, you actually can see the layers of the rock. Yeah, they are. And that's how they were compressed. That's how they were made. Like lava rocks, everything was compressed. Yeah. So think of a rock. Are you listening? Like stratified. You can almost see the layers, the shell, the concrete stuff, the sand bits, and you can see the layers. That's what stratified does. It takes parts of different sections and it uses them. A cluster will use all of one section that they've already made into segments. You didn't segment those friends into anything. You just took 18 friends. Instead of making groups of some or layers of some, you just said, I'm just going to ask my 18 friends. That is totally convenience. Okay. A law enforcement official stops drivers at every third vehicle for content. Turns. Systematic. Good. This is systematic. God bless. 27. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't do 25. A pregnancy study in Cebu, Philippines randomly selects, now here, this one's a good one, 33 communities. They have 33 communities in this area. And then they select out of all of the communities, they interview all the women in these that they selected. Clusters. This is your cluster. Good. Okay, Aaron, 27 students are randomly selected from each grade level at a high school. Stratified. Okay, wait, guys. I got 2 minutes, hang on. A journalist interviews 154 people waiting at an airport baggage and asks them how they feel, if they feel safe during their air travel. Think of where they are when they ask them. Convenient. They're at the airport. And they've already got there safely. Okay. 29. Using the fifth row of table 1, you had to generate your numbers. Can everybody do this? From 1 to 650? Okay, make sure you cut them by 3s. The last one, would you take a sampling of this, or would you take a sampling?
And was it, can you random sample?
Random sampling. That's it. Okay, Monday is the test, guys. All of chapter 1. Good job. And you need your vocab, yes.
Oh, the vocab.